this program out as soon as you find it. Just let everybody know we're getting ready to have some gratitude going on up in here. So share, share, share. And Staci is with me today. We'll get going after the music and say hello to everybody. But right now, just take a moment, listen to this song. I absolutely love this song. And I was telling Staci, it's my theme song now.
I love it.
Share it out, please.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
I love that song.
Good one.
Yes. Hello, Staci.
Hello, Teri.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful day. Yeah, that's our theme song in the morning. It's a beautiful day. And when we start out on that foot and start recognizing the beauty in the world, wow, there's no holding us down. Or like Matthew McConaughey says, there's no roof.
Exactly. Today was a beautiful day. It was 80 here. The sun
And here
shining.
is in Central Florida, right?
New Smyrna Beach. Yep, right on the East Coast.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you had sunshine in the Sunshine State. We've had a kind of a wonky weather day here in California, where I'm at in Paso Robles. It started out like kind of gray, like there might have been a lot of fog out there in the mountains. And then the sun came out, but it's still not like a bright sunshiny day like I like. But at least it's not still gray. And so that's encouraging. Things are looking up. And like the song says, even if the sky is falling down, no matter if it's a gray day, a bright day, I'm just going to keep searching for those high moments.
There you go.
Love in life. We've got Suzanne on with us. We have Jean Lorio on YouTube.
Hello.
Robert Dosa, Tammy Fisk. Yes, and Tammy is celebrating with you. I hear you had good news today.
Yes, I did. I went for a bunch of tests a couple of weeks ago for my heart and my carotid arteries, and everything came back perfect. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Thank you, Tammy.
Celebrating with you. Happy,
Yeah.
happy, happy. So grateful for everything in life, but especially when we have our health, right?
Absolutely. And I'm finding as I get older, I just want to be healthier. You know, when I was younger, I was like, I'll eat all this. I don't care. But now it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like you don't think twice when you're young and everything's going your way. Nothing's going to stop me.
Yeah.
But then something does. And as you get older, you realize that what we're doing as far as our nutrition is adding to that. It's adding either to helping us or to go the other way, right?
Yeah. I mean, we actually are what we eat. That is true.
Mhm.
So if you eat good and you take care of yourself, then it comes from the inside out.
Absolutely. And you're going to be doing a little bit of teaching about that, aren't you?
Yes. My first venture. Oh, you know me. A year ago, if you had asked me to do this, would I be here right now? No. And now I'm going to do a cooking show, and it's it's amazing how much change I've done over the years. So I'm proud of myself, and I owe you that too. You've been there with me on this whole journey, and I'm thankful for you.
Thank you. We've been holding each other's hand, I think.
That's right.
We've really developed over the years this bond where we intuitively know what's needed. So if I have you on my mind, I reach out, and we can all have that gift. It's all available to everybody to tune in when your gut's saying something, when you're hearing somebody's name over and over, call them, text them, whatever it takes, get in touch. I just did that this morning with somebody. I hadn't seen her in a few months. I hadn't talked to her, and I just kept hearing her name. So I sent her a message, and sure enough, there were some things going on that she needed help with. And so we just talked for a while, and it was so good to catch up, but also good to know that I'm listening to my spirit guides right now. I'm letting them guide me, which is what their purpose is, guide me to what's needed. And I love that we can all do that. If you're hearing somebody's name, they're calling you.
Yeah,
They're reaching out.
and every time I'm sure everybody out there listening is the same way. When you think of somebody and you call them, I was just about to text you, or I've been thinking about you. So we're all connected.
We are all connected. It's part of the oneness. And I love that. And in the beginning, Staci, when we hear that, it's such a hard concept, isn't it?
It is.
It's, no, I can look in the mirror. I see I'm this person, and and I have my spirit guides, and I know who I am. And then we hear, oh, we're all the same. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I thought I was special. We're all special.
Yeah. What's up with that? I don't get to have my own special thing. But I love the oneness. Once you find it, once you start seeing that you are me and I am you, and everything outside of us is a reflection of that spirit that's inside. We're all having these human experiences so we can do that, so we can help each other grow and learn and be grateful, find the gratitude in this life.
Yeah.
I didn't used to. Staci, I don't know if you were like that either. I would wake up and dread the day, and I didn't get up and start it with a good mindset. I would get up and like, oh my God, I got to make it through another day.
Yeah, I was that. Yes.
Yeah.
Test the alarm clock, and
yeah. But once I woke up, and this was, I've had many moments in my life. We're telling stories here. This is our story time right now. There were many times in my life when I had the opportunity to wake up fully. I've been connected with the angels my whole life. And I've had major times in my life when I understood about meditation. I led meditation. I was involved in the Course in Miracles over 35 years ago. I had those opportunities to be fully awake, but I wasn't fully awake. I was still just part of me, I guess, hadn't really accepted the oneness. hadn't accepted what this life was all about. So I had to go down those other side roads. Sometimes we take those detours, and that's what I did. I took some detours. And finally, about 8 years ago, that's when my spirit guide was like, all right, this is it. This is it, girl. You're going to get with the program here. I still had a choice, though, in all of that. I still had a choice to take a detour. I still had a choice to say, okay, I like meditation. I enjoy that feeling, that good feeling inside, but not for me. We all have that choice.
Right.
Or we jump into it like I did and say, all right, let's do this. And for me, it wasn't easy. It was painful. When I did the purge and went through and cleared all that, I call it the gunk that had collected through all those detours, that was a very painful time for me. Painful emotionally. There was a lot of tears with that. So that's when I woke up and just stayed awake. You know how when you go to sleep and there's those moments when you're woke up for whatever reason, a dream or the angels or whatever wakes you up, and you have that moment of clarity, but then you're like, nah, I'm still sleepy. So you go back to sleep. And I think some of us do that. I did that. I can speak from personal experience. I went back to sleep and I sleepwalked through years and years. But that was the past. And I'm awake and I'm staying awake and I'm loving life. Staci, I'd like to hear your experience with really coming into finding who you are as part of the oneness and waking up, because you're such a beautiful, bright light.
Thank
and
you.
I'd love to know, and if you would like to share it, to share your story.
Absolutely. Well, the start was rough and been through some stuff. So I was stuck in that angry, have to do kind of thing. And even though during that time I, saw angels and spirits, and my grandfather came to me and I felt hands on my shoulder pushing me out of dangerous situations, but I guess I wasn't ready to wake up. Like you said, it's like change is scary. So if I wake up, my friends are going to be different. It's like this whole fear of change. So I went back to sleep. And then over this last year, I just started to just feel it, and the urges to change and wake up have been so strong that I can't fight it. And I know I have the support system now to where I can just do it and be me. And it's, let me tell you, never going back to sleep.
Absolutely. That's a commitment I made to myself and to my spirit guides this time. Yeah, I never made that commitment before. I would be in the learning mode of what it was all about. But I never made the commitment, the full commitment, jumping in feet first and saying, okay, whatever comes my way. Just like that song, that I love that song so much. Even if the sky is falling down, no matter what's going on around me, I'm committing to staying strong in who I am and what I am and shining that light.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, whatever comes to be, I'm really totally all in now.
Me too.
Thank you for sharing your story. And I was listening, and Sally asked a question. She says, ladies, what would you say was the most difficult lesson to learn on your spiritual journey?
Ooh. Well, I guess for me, it's coming to me now. I'll probably think of something later. Just the realization that you can be a spiritual person and a human being at the same time. You don't have to live in constant om, you can have a glass of wine, I thought you had to be all or nothing. And for me, I can be awake and still laugh. And, so learning myself during this was my hardest part of it. And trusting people. What's my husband going to think if I'm talking about all this stuff? And but he's been here and he supports me, and he even pours me my moon water sometimes.
Beautiful. Thank you. I think for me, And there's some clearing happening with this. So Sally, thank you for that question. For me, it was, when I was excited about being one with everybody, I was excited about that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm finding people that think the same way I do, that believe the same thing I believe, that we are all one, that we're all spirit. And the hardest part that happened then after that was I trusted that everybody was legit, for lack of a better word, that everybody was what they said they were, and that they're speaking truth. And finding that sometimes there's those that are still sleeping. They're still sleeping, and that's not a judgment. They just are not getting it yet. So finding those that I felt like I was in alignment with, and they know all the words, they know all the things to say, but then you find out their heart is in a different place. And so there's a lot of that. We're in a world of contrast. We're not all the same.
Yeah.
Because we all have life lessons that we're here to learn. And that was a wake-up call for me. Like all of us, what I was shown is like all of us have our movie that we're living. And some of us are the supporting actor in people's movies. So when they're playing their part and maybe they're acting their part, we're reflecting to them truth. We're reflecting to them what they need to see to grow in their spirituality from that movie that they're living. And sometimes when we do that, then they shy away from that light. They shrink back and hide. And then the truth comes out that they're not really ready to face that light.
Yeah.
So that's happened more than once in this spiritual journey. And it was a wake-up call to not go into judgment when that happens, to just accept that's their journey, that's their movie. But I choose not to stay with anyone in my life, in my soul family group that is abusive. And I will not allow myself to be used as a doormat anymore, to be talked about and put down and shamed. I have no shame. I have no regret. And I don't have to defend myself. This is something Dr. Ruth Anderson told me this a few years ago. You don't need defending. You just are, and you just be. And if other people are not in alignment with what you're saying, then that's going to move away. So that was a huge lesson for me. And Sally, thank you for asking the question. And she says, yes, I get it. I know you do, Sally. I know we've had some of those same experiences. And, when we encountered that, it's a hard lesson.
It really
Wow, it's a hard lesson. When you think that you're like this with somebody, and you have the same dreams, you have the same goals, and everything's working perfectly. And then you find, oh my gosh, that wasn't real at all. That was one of those scripts where you were seeing because you wanted to see that person as beautiful and real. And then it turns out that there was another agenda going on. This is the contrast. We can really go through life with blinders on and say evil doesn't exist, bad doesn't exist, low vibration doesn't exist. And we can just put a smile on and just be blinded by everything, or we can just really see what we're here to see. Yeah. We came here for the contrast.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was my hard lesson as well, too. So one of them. And that's a really hard one because as a human, you want everybody to like you, But my favorite saying, one of my favorite sayings, and I have to keep reminding myself, is if everybody likes you, you're not being yourself.
Ooh, say that again.
If everybody likes you, you're not being yourself. Because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, even though I'm nice to everybody, and that's hard. But if I bend and if I'm this person with that person and that one with that, then I'm bending who I am in order for people to like me. And then in the end, it's just going to be me that's sad if I'm not I'd rather somebody not like me for who I am and not who I pretend to be, basically.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And Sally says, oh, I love that, Staci. And Robert says, whatever you do, you cannot please everyone. No,
That
we
is
can't.
absolutely right. And I
Awesome.
stopped trying.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can do that. We can play that people pleasing game, and we're the ones that hurt from it. It
Absolutely.
hurts us.
Yeah. And I say to my husband sometimes, it's like, I feel bad thinking that I need to keep somebody at shoulder's length away or arm's length away, sorry, because I'm a light worker. I'm supposed to love everybody, so that's hard in a human body to draw those boundaries sometimes. And it takes a couple times of putting your hand on that hot stove, and then you're like, okay, I get it now.
I know, right? Yeah. What's the saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
Because we have to learn that lesson sometimes and wake up. And it's like when we repeat things in our life, we do the same thing, expecting a different result. And we just keep going around and we ending up at that same spot again. And we're going, not again. Why did this happen again? And it's interesting. I'd never looked at it the way I did this past Sunday during the silent meditation. And I was talking to Ruth about that very thing. I said, sometimes in life, we go around and around and we're always ending up with that same place with our hands up in the air, like, what? I can't be here again. I thought I was going a different direction. And so she said, well, don't you think that as a light worker, when you're ending up what you think is that same spot, you're actually going in a spiral. So maybe the first time you went around, you were at that very bottom ring of the spiral. So like you took the long way around, thinking that was the way to go. And there you are, right back at square one, but you're not really at square one because you learned from that experience. So maybe the next time when you take a few wrong turns, you go into the circle, but you're not really, it's not as heavy as it was that first time that you experienced it. And each time it gets lighter going up the spiral. So yeah, we do take some wrong turns. Yeah, and that sounds like a judgment, but it's the turn that's not for our best and highest good.
Right.
It's those choices we make that, we know there's going to be a consequence. And sometimes we do it anyway, right?
Ruth is so beautiful of a person. She's such a beautiful person, and she speaks so to your heart and makes me think of all these things I would have never thought of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we have a question again from Sally. Sally, I love you being here and asking us these questions. Sally says, how old were you when you first realized you had something going on more than normal human life? Wow, what a question. I love that.
Goodness gracious.
So do you remember?
Sorry.
Do you remember?
I remember seeing shadows in my room at night and thinking they were just like giant frogs or something, because your child mind, you're trying to figure it out. And then now I know it was spirit, but I remember being, feeling different all the time. Like I just didn't come from here. Even now I was thinking in 2021, I don't belong in 2021. I feel like I belong back in like the 60s or something, I just don't connect with these days. But I used to lay on the bowling alley chairs and look at people's auras when I was like 6 and my parents would go bowling. So I've always, so I would guess like 5 or 6 is when I realized that something's going on, but I don't quite know what it is. But I'm sure everybody can do it, right? Everybody sees auras and giant frogs in their bedrooms.
I love the giant frogs. Yeah, I think for me, it was also around that age, Staci. I've always seen the angels. I've always been with them. They've always been with me. When I was young, I would go off by myself. I was in a big family. There were 13 of us. So there was always commotion and chaos and somebody fighting with somebody and, almost killing each other. But I realized really early that I wasn't like a human. I wasn't, it was like, I'm not supposed to be here, am I? I kept asking that question. Understand, we choose our family, we choose that experience. But I just felt so out of sorts. I just felt like, oh, I'm just not like these other people. What are they? They're foreign to me. And so I think it was at that young age that I spent so much time with the angels because I still needed that knowingness of being with them in spirit, in the spirit realm. So they helped me through those early years of all of the trauma, because it wasn't a pleasant growing up at all. There was corporal punishment, which, if the parents today did to their kids what our parents did to us way back then, they'd probably be put in jail. But but all the things, all the traumas, all of the illnesses, because I was sick from a young age and I didn't know, what all was going on until later in life when I realized that, some of my organs weren't working properly and probably hadn't been, because when I went into kidney failure, my doctor told me that one of my kidneys was the size of a baby kidney that a baby would have in it. So there was always a dysfunction there, and that I think contributed to a lot of my illness in the young ages. But I knew that the angels were there through all of it. They kept me from killing my brother, accidentally, of course. But we had so many experiences where we played rough. We're in the country. We grew up as country kids. We were hillbillies. Yeah. So we played, we did those things that were dangerous. We lived on the edge and slid down the hills in the snow. And, we could have run into a tree easily. But the angels were there. And I've always been connected with them.
Absolutely.
Even through the detours. I think even through the detours, they were there. I kind of shut them out. But they always kept me from totally losing it and leaving before I was supposed to leave.
I look back on things and I think, who saved me from that? I mean, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale in the 80s. I mean, so, I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood, and, you had to do crazy things to fit in, and we didn't wear shoes, and we just walked around and got in trouble. And, I've used up some of my lives, and it's like, gosh, the angels must have been there, because if my mom knew half the things I did, she'd have a heart attack. But the angels were there. I mean, thank goodness. That just proves that I have a big job to do while I'm here.
Yeah, same thing here, Staci. If my parents knew all of my shenanigans. And yes, I lied to my parents. Okay, I'm confessing right here on Gratitude Happy Hour. I wasn't always truthful with my parents when I was a teenager, and would sneak off and do things that, oh my gosh, I probably would have been beat to death if they knew. But we survived. Yeah. We survived because we were supposed to. And you mentioned going barefoot. I know Jean's watching us. Jean would give me a hard time about being barefoot, but I think there's something about that in the country, or when you're a child and you just love that feel of your bare feet on the ground, or for me in the sand too. And there's a grounding energy by doing that. And then, I found out that Kuan Yin would go barefoot, and I'm going, well, of course then.
Yeah, I still go barefoot outside and stuff. It's like, my husband's like, put your shoes on. I'm like, no. Feet came first.
So let's ask our audience, how many of you go barefoot? Are you? And I'm really not supposed to, even, because I had a bone spur and I had surgery done to get rid of it. And the doctor goes, you have to wear shoes. You know, you have to support your feet. And I'm like, but I like my feet barefoot.
Yeah.
So how many of you go barefooting? Isn't that a song? Barefooting?
Something. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think it is. So let's see if anybody else like their bare feet on the ground or on the carpet. I love the feel of carpet under my bare feet. It's just so cool.
Happy we have carpet in our new house, except for the dining room. I mean, the front walkway, the front entrance, and the kitchen and the bathrooms are tile, but the rest is carpet. My daughter's like, "Ooh, carpet! It's gonna get dirty." I said, "No, we're empty nesters now."
That's right.
So it feels good.
Isabel says she's doing it almost every day lately. Barefooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And Sally says, I do not any longer if I'm walking around, only if I'm sitting. Yeah, just sit with your bare feet and just feel that beautiful earth energy coming up through them. And Isabel says, every day since I'm aware of grounding. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful way to ground. I love my feet in the sand. That's one of the more special things that I love about the beach. Yeah. It's just that feel underneath and sinking down into the sand.
Oh, I love it. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Suzanne says she does it in the summer, in the house, or the backyard. Beautiful.
Yeah, Suzanne, you're not going to run out there now and stick your feet in the snow?
In the snow. What was I watching? Oh my gosh, I'm just having a memory here. There was like this little funny video, a trick that these sisters played on their mother. And she was out in the snow and she took her boots off and put her feet in the snow. And then she put her boots up on the back of the car, on the trunk. And like somebody had stepped up on the car. And then they took lemon juice and squirted it on the windshield like somebody had stood there and
oh, that's creative.
That was creative. And then they went in and told the mom, they did it again. Somebody did it to our car. And so the mom comes out in the snow and she's looking and she's cussing and, she was all upset. They had to eventually let her know that it was a trick, but she was really upset at first. The girl had her feet in the snow and I'm going, oh, how can you do that? That makes me cold just thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do snow for longer than a vacation.
Yeah, it's cool to look at, but I just get tired of the cold weather. I don't know how y'all do it in the wintertime, those of you that are in the cold weather. It's like, how do you spend those months just not having the warmth? I love warm weather.
Oh, yeah, that's when I come alive. It's like feeling warm.
Yeah. So, Staci, let's talk about this new show you're going to do for Enlightened World Network.
Yeah. So I think my first show is going to be March the 12th. I think so. And I'm going to be doing a cooking show called the Enlightened Plate. Took me a while to pick that name, but meditation helped. Mm-hmm. We're going to make some recipes and have some conversation about food and your body's ability to heal and stuff like that. I'm not a professional cook. I'm just a home cook. So Gordon Ramsay, hopefully he doesn't watch, but and not having labels, you can eat one thing and not label yourself and eat something else and just letting go and loving each other and supporting each other and learning together.
Are you going to share recipes with us?
Yeah, I'll share some recipes. It's going to be on at noon, so I could do a breakfast. I could do a dinner. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the first show I might do some appetizers because it'll be my first show and it'll be like an appetizer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love it, and we're getting comments. Suzanne says, love that, Staci.
Thank you.
I am so excited. I can't wait for your show to begin. It's needed. There's a lot of cooking channels on TV, and the professionals, like you said, the professional chefs and those that make the fancy plates and, things that we, I don't know, it's just hard for me to imagine I'm going to cook a plate like that. But to hear somebody coming at it from a spiritual viewpoint and knowing that what we put in our body is so important to our spiritual growth, not to just this human body, but to our spiritual growth as well.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Well, you watch the TV shows and they're screaming at each other while they're making it and putting all that weird energy in it. You gotta just love it. And if you're not in the mood to cook, make a sandwich. That's fine too. Make a Scooby snack.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and I'll have people on to join me and show me their favorite recipes and ideas. I'm not going to be telling people what to eat or not to eat. It's just going to be an experience coming from my experiences and everybody's experience.
Beautiful. I can't wait. We're so happy to have Staci on board at Enlightened World Network.
Thank you.
And we're finding a lot of variety in what's coming forth now with people that are wanting to do different things. And, we do a meditation a day. Meditation is kind of like our trademark at Enlightened World. We're very into that spiritual practice of really knowing who you are. And like we were talking about earlier, finding that person that you are inside and fitting into the oneness with everything about you. But we're also bringing in a whole lot of different programs. We have a new channel that's going to start in March, and it's One with the Earth. And so I'm looking forward to all the opportunities that are coming up with that as well, of really bringing in a lot of earth energy. So there's a lot going on. And Isabel says, beautiful, Staci, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I hope you'll come and watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I know I'm going to watch it. I don't cook much anymore because I'm at the mercy of wherever I'm at. But I do enjoy cooking. That's one thing. I learned cooking from my mom. My mom was a great cook, as you can imagine. With 13 kids, she had to really be creative at times. But I learned the basics from her, and then just developed, as in my young adult years, just developed my own recipes and explored what was there to grow with.
I was not a good cook in the beginning. When I was younger, I was not a good cook.
Let me just tell Jean Loriot, honey, you are watching us on YouTube and others are watching on Facebook. So if you want to find it on Facebook and jump on there, you can see everybody's comments by doing that, and come in and say hello to everybody. And Jean was talking about, she's the one that was mentioning me going barefoot a lot. And she says, Jean lives in sticker country where there are scorpions and snakes, and you found the stickers.
Sounds like Florida. Those stickers hurt.
Oh my gosh, little Ringo, they would stick to his hair on his paws. And so then he, of course, would come in the house, and there were those moments when, yes, Teri found the stickers. Oh, that's a good experience.
No.
But, yeah. So Suzanne says she'll definitely watch.
Thank you.
Awesome. We had another question from Sally. Scroll back up to it. I love all of you being on here today. Thank you for the interactions. Grace Isis is on. She said that she was 6 as well, and her nephew is 8 and is very aware of his healing gift. He is a star child, extremely sensitive and intuitive.
Oh,
I think that 5 to 6 year age is when we start really seeing ourselves and looking at other people. And it's like, what is that? Like, wait a minute. I know Sally had another comment. Oh, here it is. Sally says, do you believe that gifts can be born from trauma?
That's a good question.
I think the trauma experiences help us investigate and open up to those gifts. I really do believe that, Sally. There's been a lot of trauma in my life. Emotional trauma, though, has been the catapult in most of those cases where it's like, okay, something's going on here, and let me just figure some things out. And you start going in, or I started going in and started looking at what's important, what's real. What am I doing here? That was one of my questions that I would always go to. What am I doing here? What is this all about? And what am I supposed to be doing? What is this purpose of me living in this human body? And I think the emotional traumas, more so than physical traumas, are kind of the wake-up call for a lot of us. What do you think about that, Staci?
I agree. I believe that the trauma made me think there's got to be more to this than to life than this. Even as a young child, I would watch the dysfunction going around me, and I was so mature thinking at that age. I was like, this isn't real. What is this? And it would make me search more. And then the experiences of just like going into myself to get away from the outside world, and then hearing voices and stuff. So yeah, I do believe the traumas help us grow and ask more questions.
Yeah, but like Christina said, we don't have to have a trauma to wake up. We are all the same, and we all have those gifts. But some of us, I think, need the smack up the side of the head.
I had an amazing experience.
Myself, okay.
Do you mind if I share a really awakening experience after trauma? So I got pregnant with my daughter, my oldest, when I was 19. My ex-husband was very abusive in many, many ways. And I had lost my grandfather a couple of years before that. So the day that she was born, I only had an epidural. I didn't have any other medicine. And so the second she was born and they took her and put her over on the little heating table, my hearing went down to a buzz. Couldn't hear anything but the buzz. I could see the doctor talking. The baby was crying. The nurses were going around doing all this stuff. And all of a sudden, I look at the baby and I see my grandfather's face appear, just like I'm looking at you. And he smiles at me, this big smile. And as he starts to go away, my hearing comes back. So he was just trying to tell me he was there through this with me and everything was going to be okay. And then shortly after that, we weren't together anymore, but I just know that spirit is with us, helping us. So that was just a time in my life that I needed to see that. So that was traumatic. And I know that opened up that visit from my grandfather.
Right. Yeah, he was there right beside you, holding your hand. I love that. Amazing. So yeah, it's those trauma moments when we realize we've gone through something really huge. We can go one of two ways with it, can't we? Mm-hmm. We can say, oh, that was terrible. I don't ever want to go through anything like that again. Let me just go into my shell here so I don't get traumatized again. And I'm talking really about the emotional trauma. Yeah. Or we can say, wow, I made it through that and I'm still going. I'm still standing. I love that song. I'm still standing.
Oh, now I'm going to get it stuck in my head.
I know. I'm going to get it stuck in all of your heads. But we have choices. We have choices. And that's the whole thing. If we're open to it, we'll have the visions of those that are with us, helping us. Or we can just live our life in fear and shrink back and shrink away from love and life. I want to live my life to its fullest. I want to live every moment and experience every moment. Otherwise, it's just an existence.
Yeah, we're here to live. Enjoy. I got my free parking pass for the beach, so now I can just drive on there and go anytime I want. That's my heaven. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Christina says she loves your story with your grandfather, Staci.
I got through it without tears this time. It wasn't easy. And it's funny though, because my grandfather appeared over my oldest daughter, Brittany's face, and she's just like him.
Mhm.
It's like she came in and he entered or something. It's funny.
Yeah. Isabel said that she used to think that too, that since a very young age, like 6, she remembered dreams of people coming to her and getting close to her at her bed, and then getting bigger and bigger. And as they would get closer to her, just next to her. And she used to be scared with it.
Yeah.
And I think as a young child, that might be that might be a little scary unless you're fully aware, and then you would just know who they are. I know we both have a mutual friend, Joseph Labruto, and he tells the story about when he was young and his grandmother passed. Pretty sure it was grandmother.
Yeah, that's grandma.
And she came and sat on his bed and talked to him.
Hi,
and
Joe. Hi, Joey.
told him that she had gone, that she wasn't in her physical body anymore. And yeah, he could have been scared by that and shut down his gifts, but he didn't.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah, because he's amazing.
Oh, yeah, he's a good person. He's a good friend for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Missing him.
I'll tell him you said hi and make him give you a call. Say, you better give Terry a call.
Yeah. Tell him I want him to come on Gratitude Happy Hour with me sometime.
Yeah, I'll sign him up.
Right. You do that. You take care of it for me. And Christina, let's see what she's saying. My grandmother sat on the edge of my bed about a month after she passed. There was an indent on the blanket where she had sat when I woke up. I love that. Anybody else experience that? I've experienced a similar thing, but for mine, it was my cats. And sometimes, you all know I lost both of my darling cats in 2019. And sometimes I feel them like they've jumped onto the bed where I'm sleeping. And I have actually seen the indent where there was like something there. So I know it's real. I know that those that are in spirit have the ability to do that. As humans, we love our confirmations, don't we, Staci?
Oh, yeah. We need them, and then sometimes we don't even believe them when we get them.
I know. It's like, show me the sign, right?
I was going to say, when I was there when you lost your little fur ball, I remember feeling the energy, and as sad as it was a beautiful experience that I'm happy that you let me be a part of.
Oh, I was so grateful you were there. The angels really worked that out, where you were down in the area that day. And when you heard that I was in need, you were right there. Yeah. And I so appreciate that, because I don't think I could have gone through that alone.
No, I did it because I love you. And
no, you did. Thank you.
I would do it again. I would drive from here for you.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest moments of my life, was to let my Gizmo go. And I still feel him. He was that little camera hog. If I was on, he was on. Like, you're not going on live without me, Mom. I think that's how Luna's going to be eventually. She's going to be right there in that camera with you. She reminds me of him. She reminds me of Gizmo's energy. Yeah, Sally says, I've seen my dog who crossed come back in the form of my male kitty that I currently have. They do. They come back to us. Yeah.
Most certainly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Can you believe this hour is almost gone? I just looked at the time. I'm like, how is that possible? We just got started talking. Wait a minute.
Well, let's stay on a little longer. I hear my husband doing dishes out there.
Oh, okay. What else we got? And Isabel says, I was wondering if you did have dreams like that, because I didn't know any of those people. Oh, where she was talking about the people that would come to her and they get bigger and bigger as they came closer in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about my mother's ancestry. I know it's Native American, and I have had so many dreams with Native American individuals. In the dreams, we were doing rituals, or they were speaking to me in the Native American language. And yeah, so I've had those dreams where I didn't know who they were, but I just allowed the energy, and then I would just wonder, who was that? Who was that? And then I learned later on with more experience to ask who it is. Anytime that we ask a spirit who they are, they have to tell us. It's like this law that they do have to come forward with who they are. They can't hide from us. So now I know that whether a spirit is in a dream or if it's in the room and they start coming in to be with me, I just pause and I say, who are you? And there's three things I ask. Who are you? Why are you here? And how can I help you? And when you ask those three questions, listen. Just listen for the answers and they'll come. The answers will come. And see, Grace says, I remember a session we had, Teri, and I passed on a message, an energy. It was Gizmo, and it was so comforting to you. Yes, you did, Grace Isis. You really connected with my Gizmo and let me know that he was good, that he was playing and happy and no pain. Thank you for that message. Yeah, beautiful. So Staci, have you ever had strangers in your dreams that came to you and were bigger than life sometimes?
Yeah, I have. And actually, it reminds me of my dream last night. I was in my old house in Coral Springs, which was, it had spirit in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, but in my dream, I was back there and it had spirit in it. And there were people telling me, and I don't know who they were. And they were telling me, you see things that other people do not.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were showing me, I see things in the clouds and stuff. And sometimes I wonder, when you dream of people, even if it's someone you don't know, are they dreaming of you as well? As that, my mind always goes there.
Yeah.
And then there's certain people that I never have ever dreamed about, but lately they come into my dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does happen. The other thing that happens, it's just clicked as you were saying that. Sometimes we feel a sadness come over us or a melancholy or some emotion that we know is not ours. We're like, why am I feeling this way? And I don't have anything to be sad about or angry about or whatever that emotion is. And somebody said this to me, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. They said, well, maybe that's not your energy. Maybe there's somebody that's thinking about you and either missing you or angry with you or whatever. And you're feeling their energy because that energy is so strong towards you.
Right.
And
Wow.
yeah, so sometimes that experience happens and we don't understand it. But
that's a thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
We're all energy, and we're all alike, so maybe.
We're all the same. We absolutely are. And as we said earlier, sometimes it's a hard concept to grasp, but once we do, and once we realize, like the Course in Miracles says, we are all in this together and we're creating it through our own way of creating our thoughts, our words, our actions. We're making this up as we go along. We're putting the energy into things that's there. We're putting the meaning into things that's there. When we can realize that, then we come a long way toward filling into the oneness of everything, of us all. Let's see what our Jean says. Jean says, ancestors will visit us from way back. During my healing, Nanu Tampika came to me and she has stayed. She was a shaman and an ancestral grandmother. And yes, I do remember that, Jean. I remember her coming in. Yes, so our ancestors do visit us. And we can always ask who they are and just ask for our intuition to be heightened so that we do have the answers and we do know. Oh, Grace Isis says, I've always seen elephants walking around so gentle, and I always sense that they are a symbol of my energy, gentle giants. I'm so excited because I am going to go to India. I know this. I know it in my heart. It's not available yet for us to go into, but I want to sit on an elephant. I don't know what that desire is. It feels like kind of like it comes from another lifetime that I've lived where I did that. And I can see that experience. I can feel it just like I'm there already.
Mm.
So I know that that's going to happen.
Yeah. I rode an elephant at once
Did you?
in Fort Lauderdale. Do you remember they used to have the swap shop?
I do remember
They
that.
had the circus.
Yes.
And I got to ride the elephant, but I always felt bad for the elephant because I felt like it needed to be running around, not giving everybody rides.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really enjoy it because I felt his sad energy the whole time I was on his back.
Yeah, to be out in the wild with the others. Yeah, that's always been one of my concerns too about the animals. You know, we get to experience them, we get to see them. That's a good part about places like that. But then I do have that feeling from the animals that
Yeah.
wish I could just go run wild and free and enjoy my life.
That probably is a past life of yours or something if you're drawn to it. If I walk past a house with big white pillars, I get like a flashback of Greece or something, and I just start feeling like I'm there again. Like I don't know if that would be a past life memory or not, but it just feels like I'm home.
Yeah, those moments, I call them the deja vu moments, when we have that flashback of something. That's an energy that we were in another realization, in another lifetime. And I used to call it past lives. I don't call it past lives anymore because there is no past, there's no time. So we're living each of those lives on a different dimension, and we're experiencing things. And sometimes there's a bleed over from the dimensions, and we have that flashback, and it's like, oh, somewhere I am on the back of an elephant, or I'm in Greece, or wherever you may be. I love that. And I love that we can come to that understanding now.
Mm-hmm.
We really know that now. So, well, my dear, I hope your husband's done with the dishes because it is time for
Oh, darn. Well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. And
Gosh, I'm so happy. So tell us again the starting date for your new show.
March 12th at noon.
And the name of it?
The Enlightened Plate.
The Enlightened Plate. Look for Staci. And I know we're having a Valentine Pea Party on the morning show on Valentine's Day. So I'm hoping you'll come in with us.
Yeah, I'll be there. I get to have surgery on the Tuesday, and I'm taking y'all with me
Yes, you
as
are.
long as I can. So I'm going to have to put my phone out. But
yeah, so come into the party so we can all lift you up before that surgery and get some love going on with you.
Right. Are we wearing our pajamas again?
Oh, absolutely. I always wear my pajamas in the morning.
Okay, good.
And you're all welcome. All of you that are here with us watching, just come on into that morning show. It's at 8:00 Eastern time, and we're having a party. We're having a party. Y'all know I love music. Everything turns around to music. And I was trying to find a fun little song to take us out of here today so we can just sit in some fun energy. So I found this song called Fred the Dragon, and I'm going to play it for us. I love dragons. So listen to the words and sing along and just dance along because it's an upbeat song. Dance along to the energy. We want to thank you all for being on the show with us today. Everybody that came in, I see your beautiful comments and your names and your love, your hearts. I love you. Like the little book says that Jean L'Oreal gave me, I heart your heart. I love you so much. Staci, thank you for being with me today. You're absolutely delightful. I'm so glad we're friends. I'm so glad we connected through Joseph.
Absolutely.
Those years ago, I think it was about 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 5.
Oh,
And just so grateful to have you in my life.
I'm
Thank you.
grateful as
Thank-
well. I
thank
thank
you
you for
for-
having me on
Thank
here,
you
and
for
I
the
love
blessing
everybody.
that you are. And thank you everybody for watching. And come in again next week. Let me see my. Next week, I'm going to have Lisa Berry with me on Gratitude Happy
Awesome.
Hour.
So sweet. I love her.
I think some
She's
of
got
you
the
are.
best energy.
Yeah. So she'll be here next week on Gratitude Happy Hour, and then there'll be another discussion about something positive and uplifting, because
Yay.
that's what gratitude is all about, lifting our vibration. So here is Fred the Dragon, and let's all just dance around with our Fred. Share your gratitude while this is playing. What are you grateful for today?
Dragon that's under your bed. He'd be less scary if his name was Fred. And I heard his favorite color is red. And his baby blue bike is parked out back in your shed. Now Freddy's favorite thing to do is go to the beach. He brings a picnic basket, fills it up with sweets.
In my language.
An umbrella to stay out of the heat. Later he hits the buffet. It's an all you can eat.
I think I'm going to name my dragon Fred.
Well, Freddy has a cousin and his name is Ed. He's half Freddy size but with a bigger head. His favorite
Yours could
thing
be
to
Ed.
do is
We'll have
eating
Fred and
bread with butter and jelly and that
Gotta
cream
find a
cheese
dragon.
spread. Now do you know what happened? I woke up one night. Freddy and Eddie got into a fight. Freddy was bothered by Eddie's reading light, and they had to call their grandma to set things right. Now I can hear Grandma's dragon voice from over
Look
the
out for
phone.
Grandma.
She was telling it straight, boys, leave it alone. If you don't settle down, I will play my trombone, and Grandpa Dragon will bust out a saxophone.
No.
And so the cousins made up. Hey, we're friends, you and me. Let's ride my baby blue bike. Let's go down to the sea. Yeah, said Ed, that's where you want to be. Let's build the biggest castle in the sand that's ever been seen.
Love Sandcastle.
Now your room is quiet. You can't hear a sound. No one's under your bed. No dragons around. So hurry, close your eyes. They'll soon be back in town. Before you know it, they'll be blowing up a storm, jumping up and down.
Freddie the Dragon. Now you all can go have some fun. The trombone and the saxophone, right? The Sandalphon Dragon. Yes, Christina. I love that silly song. It's
It is
just
silly.
fun.
That's fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to name my dragon Fred.
Okay.
That's what I hear. And just have
That's a good
fun. Have fun. Dragons are fun energy. Have a great night, y'all. I love you all so much. Staci, I love you, my friend.
I love you too. Love y'all.
And we'll see y'all later. Bye.